You tapped no thanks on that full screen AI pitch. This morning it was waiting again after the unlock. Samsung calls it Finish Setting Up Your Device, a full screen wizard that appears after a One UI update, pushing Galaxy AI hard and treating your earlier decline like it never even happened. Look at the consent layout. A huge high contrast enable button sits right under your thumb, where yes feels automatic. The decline option is a small grey "Not Now" link you almost have to squint to find. That layout isn't some clumsy accident. It's doing exactly what it was built to do to you. On-device AI isn't a separate app you can delete. Samsung and Google wire it into the system framework, the assistant shortcut, the keyboard, the camera roll, and the Messages app itself, leaving no clean corner to stand in. Want Galaxy AI gone? There's no master off switch. You open Settings, then Galaxy AI or Advanced Features, and toggle Call Assist, Writing Assist, Photo Assist, Interpreter, Keyboard, and Circle to search one by one. There's a setting called Process Data Only on Device. Flip that, and the cloud-based AI features shut themselves off automatically. That's as close as Samsung gets to anything like a real kill switch for the suite. Google runs the same playbook with Gemini on Android. It just buries the paperwork a little deeper. Gemini can replace Google Assistant as the default digital assistant on Android. Once that happens, every assistant trigger wakes Gemini instead. To reverse it, you dig into default apps and manually reassign Google Assistant again. Google Messages hides the same modular mess. Separate toggles for Show Gemini button, Magic Compose, and Smart Reply. Miss even one, and the chip or the draft button is still sitting there in your chat thread. Then a system or app update lands. Those updates can refresh promotional flags, reset the default assistant preference back to Gemini, or kick the onboarding wizard awake all over again, like the first decline never counted. So your no never really sticks. The phone just keeps rewriting the question until you finally give up. Asymmetric consent designs like that bright enable button, paired with a muted decline link, raise acceptance rates by 20% or more. Studies on this exact kind of layout keep finding the same lift. Regulators already hate the pattern. The FTC hit Amazon for $2.5 billion in 2025 over deceptive subscription dark patterns. Epic Games paid $245 million for the same class of tricks. The EU AI Act goes further on paper. Article 5 prohibits AI systems that use subliminal or manipulative techniques to distort how people behave. Persistent nagging into an assistant ought to sit squarely in that danger zone. And yet nobody has been fined for these AI onboarding flows specifically. Not for this one. Not yet. This is an Android story right now. Samsung Galaxy phones running One UI 6.1 through 8.5. Google Pixel and other Android devices pushing Gemini as the new normal. The sources simply stop there. Device makers have a polished defense. They say these persistent prompts educate you about major upgrades and new privacy controls. Deep system integration lets translation and search run on the hardware without installing anything extra. Granular toggles, they argue, let you disable Call Assist without killing photo tools you still want. Recurring setup screens after big updates make sure you see fresh privacy choices, including on-device versus cloud processing options. That all sounds tidy until you notice where the Enable button sits and where Not Now quietly hides. Education doesn't require a high-contrast thumb trap. Privacy choices don't need a wizard that forgets you already declined. Granular settings are fine. Turning every off switch into a scavenger hunt is the part that wears people down. We also don't know how many looping finish setting up screens are deliberate design versus post-update glitches, VPN interference, or odd display settings. Users smell intent every time. Support tickets can always blame a conflict instead. Nobody has said whether Samsung or Google will ever ship a real disable all AI master toggle. And no court has ruled yet that this exact onboarding style breaks the EU AI Act or Section 5 of the FTC Act. So the maze stays put, the bright enable button stays, and your no stays temporary by design. You can still turn the pieces off if you care enough. Dig through the Galaxy AI submenus. Reset the digital assistant app. Kill Show Gemini button in messages. It works if you have the patience of a tax auditor. That's the platform incentive. Adoption metrics love a 20% lift from a louder yes button. Default assistants love being the default. The bill arrives as your attention every time the wizard returns after you already answered. They call it helpful onboarding. You experience it as a quiet little war of attrition. Next update, watch for finish setting up your device again. Watch for that bright Enable button parked in the easy thumb zone and the gray Not Now link doing its best impression of fine print you were meant to miss. The pattern stays the same, whether it's Galaxy AI or Gemini. Embed the model deep, prompt often after unlocks and updates. Make yes effortless and no a multi-step project. Then let fatigue finish the sale. When that bright Enable button shows up again, ask yourself one simple thing. Who is the onboarding actually for?